Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Local Marana. And this morning we have the distinct pleasure of being with the town manager, Terry Rozema. Welcome, Terry.
Well, thanks, Clint. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this for the last 2 or 3.
Too.
Well, longer
we've
than that.
talked about it for a while.
Weeks,
and haven't
months.
been able to kind of get it on the schedule. So glad we were able to work it out, and I was able to get down here.
Very
I
cool.
apologize to you once again because I was a few minutes late.
Hey.
So
We run a real tight ship around here.
I know
Terry.
you do,
Yeah,
man.
come on.
I was a little bit afraid that
Hey,
David.
no parking voucher for you.
Yeah, I was afraid David was going to cancel me for being late, man.
All the donuts are gone. Hey, so before we get into all the really cool things that are going on in Marana, and they're an incredible number of things going on.
We
could
won't be
go a
able to
week.
cover it all
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
But
I
we'll
want to
get
find
into
out a
some of
little
it.
bit about you.
Sure.
And you just shared with me where you're from originally, but go give us a little breakdown on who you are and how you got here and the whole 9 now.
Sure. So I grew up in Michigan. My folks, were 6 of us kids. My older brother, I'm the second oldest. I have a younger brother who's a couple years younger, and then 3 younger sisters. Youngest 2 were adopted. My dad was a cop. Was a cop for 30 years. In fact, he became a cop just a few months before I was born, actually. So I've been in public service my whole life. Yeah. And he started with a couple of municipal agencies and then moved into the state police. So we kind of moved around Michigan a little bit here and there. And but we settled in southwestern Michigan in the Kalamazoo area, and that's where I grew up. And went to college there to a place called Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And was studying criminal justice. I was going to follow in my father's footsteps. And it was the mid-'80s and very depressed in Michigan at the time because the auto industry was failing. A lot of things were crumbling. And, man, I could not find a job to save my life. I thought, what in the heck is the matter with me? And I'm walking through the criminal justice department one day, and I saw this pamphlet on the bulletin board that said, Tucson Police now hiring. And I thought to myself, where in the heck is Tucson, Arizona, man?
And what time of the year was this?
This would have been in the
summer?
Yeah, I think it was the summer. It just right when school started back up. Okay. And so I grabbed the pamphlet, and, this was back in the days we didn't have email or anything, so I had to make a phone call and say, hey, I'd like an application. They mail the application to you, right? And you got to fill it out and put it in an envelope and mail it back. And lo and behold, they give me a phone call and say, hey, we want you to come out and test. And I flew out here and tested with 2,000 people. 2,000 people showed up to test. You can't even get, City of Tucson can barely get 200 people to show up nowadays. But a few months later, they called me and said, we want you to start in January. I still had one class I had to finish up. So they said, well, we've got another class in April. So I started in April of '87, worked for the City of Tucson Police Department for 24 years. Was working for the Grand Rapids Police Department as a community service officer when I was in Grand Rapids going to school. And then lo and behold, the Marana job opened up. And I'd been living in Marana for about 20 years at the time that it opened up as the chief job. So I left.
That's roughly 10 years ago.
It was about 12 and a half years ago. Yeah, that was right in 2010. And so I applied. I was like, man, I'd love to be the chief in the town of Marana. Yeah. And lo and behold, I got that job and did that for 10 years before I was asked to serve as the town manager. So
And that was in 2021. You became the town manager.
Yep,
Is that
January of 21.
Great
Yeah,
hire.
exactly.
Great hire.
Well,
great
thanks.
hire,
I
great
appreciate
hire.
that.
When I
Oh,
heard,
and I'd be remiss, man, if I didn't talk about my wife and my kids.
Yes, you
I have
would.
a beautiful wife. Her name is Kathy, and I have 5 children and 3 grandchildren and 2 awesome daughter-in-laws.
That's so
and I got
cool.
one son working on a 3rd daughter-in-law for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
5 children.
wonderful
That's
family.
awesome.
Yep, 5
And
kids,
3
3
grandchildren.
3 grandkids. Yep.
And I know how old you are. 'cause
Yeah,
you
we
shared
talked
that
about
with me,
that.
and
Yeah.
I've got you by a few years. And
Yeah.
my kids are just late bloomers, I guess, when it comes to the grandchildren.
Yeah.
But David's got another one on the way. And
That's good.
got the other one, so
Yeah.
we have surrogates. You know, you mentioned something, and I don't want to let this slide. You were born into a law enforcement family.
Yes.
So you've been a public servant,
Yeah.
because that extends to
Absolutely.
the family for sure.
Absolutely.
We know that
my
for a
entire
fact.
life now, all 59 plus years of
Yeah.
it, I've been in public service, and very drawn to it, very proud of it. The ideals of public service, taking care of other people, putting
Mhm.
other people ahead of yourself.
Mhm.
Those are the things that have always appealed to me about it.
I'm a firm believer. Those that serve, the more you can serve, the more, I hate to use the word power, but
Mhm.
the more influence, the more
Absolutely.
impactful you are.
There's no question.
And you can prove that even in business. Well, if they're serving more people,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon,
Yeah.
well, they're with
And they have a
those-
lot of
and
influence,
they have a lot
don't
of
they?
influence, correct?
And you can use that influence for good or bad,
For
I
good
guess,
or bad.
right? Yeah.
There's a big discussion about that with AI. I don't want to go off
Oh,
sideways
yeah. We
here,
won't
but,
go too far into that.
but with giving too much into that.
Yeah.
By the way, we're of the somewhat of the same age,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
remember a
Mhm.
time when TV was considered one of the most evil things on
Oh,
the planet.
yeah,
and
no
we got to
question.
look out. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
my dad going, "Well, wait a minute, it's not the TV, it's the programmer."
It's the programming. Yeah.
So
There
let's
you
get
go.
into Marana.
All right. Let's talk.
We love Marana.
Excellent.
Uh,
Love hearing that.
yeah, we love Marana. We've been doing business in Marana now almost 18 years.
Wow.
I've been in Marana for almost 21, so 18 of those years during the day I've lived in Marana. Love Marana.
Mm-hmm.
Second fastest growing city in the state.
Yeah. Only second behind Queen Creek.
Yeah. And
So-
we didn't get here by accident.
No.
And those are some of the things I want to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
is
Absolutely.
Ed fills us in quite a bit on the history, so I don't think we need to go back 100 years. But let's
Right.
just take your tenure
Mm-hmm.
from 2010
Mm-hmm.
forward.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What's spurring this growth?
Well, I think location is part of it. The fact that we're on the I-10 and have 17 miles of it running through, that helps. I think that's a factor. I don't think it's the factor,
No, I
however. I think the factor is how beautiful the area is. And I think the decisions that are being made, the way that the community is run, you have a pretty consistent group of people that have been the decision makers in this organization for a long time, including the mayor, a number of council members that have been on there for, a substantial amount of time. And I think that stability in understanding what it is you want to do and how you want to grow and making sure that you grow in a smart way. And certainly not to say that there haven't been missteps along the way. Every one of them will admit that. But the fact of the matter is, you're dealing with a consistent group of people who have a mindset of, we want to build the best community in all of Arizona. And when that's your mindset and, your vision is all about being a trailblazer to raise the bar for the best quality of life for people, that's important. People show up to a place where you care about their quality of life and you're working to provide things that elevate their quality of life. So that's something that the town takes very seriously, and not just the council either. That's something we hire to. I have a hiring mantra. I've had it since I was the police chief. We hire for character. We train for competence. We hire for attitude. We train for aptitude. Why is that? Because I can't teach people character, and I can't teach them to have a good attitude. We can teach them how to do a job, right? So
if they've got a good attitude.
If they have a good attitude and they have strong character, and those are people that other people like to be around, people with great character and people with great attitudes, people who are positive, people who don't stab you in the back, those kinds of things. So we work really hard to make sure we're bringing awesome people into the organization what I call people who have the heart of a servant, people who aren't just looking for a paycheck, but people who care about people. So,
I think about, especially over the last, say, 5 years,
mm-hmm.
because I remember when where Marana is now,
Yeah.
existed of the Circle K and that little
right.
a little grocery store next to it. So
Yeah.
I go back that far.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about over the last 5 years, I've
Mhm.
just seen maybe a little longer than that, like the surge.
Right.
I mean, all you have to do is drive down 10
Mm-hmm.
and look to the west or look to the east, and you see
Mhm.
all these buildings.
Yeah.
How did that happen? I mean,
Yeah.
I know they approached us at some point, but there has to be some outreach.
Sure.
Walk us
So
through
there,
that.
yeah. So, we have a number of people that have been working in our community as developers for a long time. Crown West being one of
Mhm.
them. A guy by the name of Dean Wingert.
Mhm.
He helped to put Gladden Farms where it's at. And he's not the only one. There's a number of other really great people and human beings who, are in the development industry. And a lot of people look at development as, the evil people,
Yeah,
are just
yeah,
trying to go out there and make a buck. But there's many of them. A guy by the name of Walter Crutchfield that I work with as well. His group brought the mall and is bringing the hospital and other things over there at Twin Peaks. They take very seriously what it is that they're building and what they're providing to a community. So you have to build those relationships. I say it all the time. Relationship matters. Relationship. You got to have relationships with people. And when you sit down across from people and you talk about what it is they bring to the table, what it is they do, and what it is you want, and you find some common ground, you're not always going to mesh 100%, right? Because developers also have to make a buck, right? So we can ask for things, we can push for things. Right now, I'm in a big push right now, Clint, for restaurants, sit down restaurants, man, and we are putting together a little team that's going to go out and start talking to some of the best restaurants around, saying, "Hey, you need to plant yourself. You need to plant your flag in Marana because we need restaurants." So it is, a big part of what we do, and I think it's probably one of the most fun things that I've gotten to do since leaving the law enforcement field and going into the town manager position, and that is being a part of growing and building the community. So we have right now, just a wonderful opportunity with this new community center and aquatic center that the council approved, and we're going to spend a lot of money to build this thing, and that's going to start drawing people into that area, and that's going to prompt businesses to want to plant themselves. So we're working with a great guy named Scott Steitler, who was responsible for a lot of what you see in downtown Tucson with the redevelopment down there and all the new restaurants and residential. And he and a team of his are designing our downtown, what's going to be downtown Marana. And I love the vision that they have, and they certainly have, asked for our input and thoughts, but they're putting this together and things that they're going to present to us and to the council. And hopefully we're going to really start seeing some movement in what's our downtown Marana.
I'm excited about that. I've seen the plans. It fits our character.
Yeah, it's just going to be phenomenal. I think it'll be a destination place. I think people, from Phoenix will go, "Hey, man, make sure that when you get down into Pima County, when you get down to southern Arizona, you stop Marana. You got to check out their downtown, man. That's an awesome place." And that's the goal, right? To get it where people go, "Man, you got to go to Marana."
Exactly.
So,
and for anyone that may not be familiar, how close Marana really is to
Tucson,
to Tucson,
and to Phoenix,
15 minutes, and 80 minutes away.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be, and I don't think there's a prettier place in southern Arizona, man. It is such a beautiful area. The mountains around us, just fantastic. People come down here from Phoenix and they're, "Wow, I didn't know it was so beautiful down here."
Yeah.
So we've got a lot going for us, and I think probably, in my opinion, the thing that we've got going for us the most is the consistent leadership and the people that work at the town, and they truly do want to serve and help this community. government gets a bad name, and we get a bad name and a bad rap. We've earned it in most respects.
In many respects,
People, generally speaking, don't like dealing with government, and we're working hard to try and change that so that when people come to deal with us, they walk away just minds blown, like, holy cow, man. I never met a government, group of people that actually care and want to help and go out of their way. And that's what we're striving to do. Provide.
I can echo that.
Oh, thank you, man.
Being a business owner, I've worked with other cities, other municipalities, other governing boards. Marana, head and shoulders above everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't always get the response I wanted, but I always was treated with respect and courtesy.
And that's
I can't
the key.
always say that about.
Yeah.
I don't want to but I've had incidences where it was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be helping me or at least educating me. Marana, never that. It was always pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah. So none of it is accidental. No. We talk about the growth not being accidental, but the way that we serve, the way that we treat the public is not accidental. I meet with every single new person that comes into the organization, and we talk about the expectation. And the expectation, I explain to them, I ask them, who do you work for? And they'll give me the name of the supervisor. They'll give me the name of their director or whatever. And I said, no, that's not who you work for. That's who you report to. Right. You work for the people of this community. Don't forget that. Right? Because that's a distinction with a difference.
That's right.
Right? Because when you understand that you work for the people of this community, that means they're your boss. And there's something that is triggered within us when we see our boss. The boss, the supervisor, the director walks into the room and boom, you straighten up, man. You look busy and you're like, hey, how can I help you? We need to have that same mentality every time we see a person in this community. And I tell them, look, man, every 2 weeks you're going to get a paycheck, and I may sign the paycheck. My name's at the bottom, but it's not coming out of my pocket. It's coming out of their pocket.
Right.
And they literally pay your paycheck. You remember that when you interact with the people of this community. That's what hopefully drives us to provide a level of service that's unmatched, right?
Terry, again, I'm going to echo every bit of that.
Yeah.
Because you're spot on with all that. And you know how refreshing it is to sit across from you and hear you say that and know you 100% mean it and walk the walk.
Yeah.
As the opportunity presents.
Well,
because a lot of people talk this game.
Yeah.
But I can see the proof over 18 years that this is legit.
Yeah, and obviously it didn't start with me. I've only been in this seat for 2.5 years. So the Gilbert Davidsons of the world.
Gilbert Davidsons was there when I first came in.
So
great human being.
Lots of people have placed this emphasis, and the council has demanded it as well.
Yes.
Very high in their list of priorities. But yeah, I absolutely take very seriously that public servants are here to do what? Serve the public. Right. That's what we're here for. If we're not doing that, then we're not really attaining our purpose. We're not fulfilling our purpose, because that's our singular purpose: serve the public.
Singular purpose.
Help them have a better day.
Right.
Whatever that takes. Find a way to help them have a better day. Not always going to be able, like you said, we're not always going to be able to tell you yes, not always going to be able to give you what you want, but you should walk away going, you know what? I felt heard. I felt respected. I felt like they really tried to do everything that they could for me. And when people walk away from that, they may not like the answer, but at least they felt valued and appreciated.
I won't mention what organization this person was in, but I said, it was a governmental role. And I said, there's enforcement and there's education. Really what I would hope from you as a public servant is you'd be educating me. But I feel more like there's an enforcement taking place here. And he looked right at me and he goes, there's more money in enforcing. I'm like, that's not the answer I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Talk us through like a typical week in your schedule. I know it's so diverse. You're talking to a lot of different people, but like in a typical week, what does Terry Rozema do Monday through Friday, Saturday?
Yeah. So, obviously meeting with staff. I have leadership team meetings, a couple of times a month, kind of giving the direction, things we got going on, reminding them why we're here. And people think, well, that's kind of easy. That's kind of simple. But I think it's a huge part of what I need to be doing is making sure that people stay focused on the mission and the vision of the organization, and that we're living out the values, setting that standard. I meet with a lot of developers, people who are interested in doing things in our community and want to know what they have to do and how they can go about it and what we're okay with and what we're not okay with. And that requires obviously a lot of conversations with the council. So, it's one thing when you have one boss, it's another thing when you have 7 bosses, right? And so I report to 7 different elected officials, and that comes with its nuances, obviously. And great people, really enjoy working for them, and I hope they continue to work for a long time. But so working with them, conveying to them what's going on. Communication is a huge part of my job. Dealing with personnel issues, still at this level, we have
Which is still a
things-
communication.
which is absolutely still communication,
no matter what
yeah.
the situation is.
Yeah. So being a good communicator, I think, is really important in this position. Making decisions, that's a big part of what I do. People come to me and go, "Hey, we got this or we got this. What do you want to do?" Well, what do you want to do? And then they tell me, and I go, "That sounds good to me. Let's do it." Right?
That's how David and I wrote.
Right.
Clint, I was thinking,
right.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a lot of it is we have tremendous people. Our directors are fantastic. Our police chief, our water director, our development services director, HR director, right on down the line. We have just incredible human beings that are competent, very good at what they do. And so I have never been in the water wastewater business. Right. I've never been in the public works business. But the guys that are running the show and the ladies that are running the show, they have been. Yeah. And so I rely a lot on them and making sure that we're putting policies into place that ensure that we stay within the guardrails, right?
Great word.
Making sure that we are thinking ahead, planning ahead. A big part of what I do is strategic planning and thinking. How are we going to get to there? We're here right now and we need to get there. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do it the most cost-effective way? How are we going to do it in a way that has the least negative impact to our residents? We're dealing with that right now with Cortero and I-10. What a mess, man! What a mess!
I don't even know how you fix that.
Well, we've got some creative ideas and thoughts.
I've got one for you. I'll share it with you.
I want to hear it.
No, I've got an idea for you.
All right. Well, we've got some creative ideas, and we're going to have to do something with that. But these are big projects.
Yeah.
That's probably a $250 million project
because we're not started yet.
Right. If we do it like Ina, if we do it like Twin Peaks, and I don't know that we can do that because we'd have to shut it down for 2 years, and shutting Cortero and I-10 down for 2 years would be catastrophic. It would be huge. So we've got to think of some other things that we can do there, and that's what we're working on right now. So, strategizing through some of those bigger problems, working with residents on concerns that they have, meeting and talking to folks about, how we can better serve them. It's a mixed bag. Every day is a little bit different, and it's a lot of fun.
So you're telling me a town manager's job's not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday?
No. In fact, tomorrow I looked at my schedule. I start tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. hitting a briefing over at the police department. I don't get done until 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the start of my last one.
Right.
So, I'll be going a good 14, 15 hours tomorrow. Tonight's a council meeting, so we'll get out of there around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So sometimes they're long days, but it's rewarding.
Yeah. You actually answered, you went where I was going to ask you, what are we doing for the future? And I think you covered that real well for the time frame that we have right now. But if there's like one thing or a group of one things for the future that you're really looking at.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the things that are already we're doing, like the town center and things like that. What would you say that one thing is?
Yeah, I think
one group of
I think
things
being really conscientious about traffic and traffic flow and keeping people moving is going to be a huge push for us. We're right in the middle of a transportation master plan. I really believe that we need to do something in addition to Tangerine and Marana. We've got to fix those interchanges as well. But I think there's real benefit to thinking ahead beyond even that and putting in an interchange at Moore Road. So we've done some discussions about that. And we've still got a long way to go. But, if you think about it, if you have to shut down Tangerine in order to redo that, where's everybody going to get to the freeway? They're all going to have to go to Marana and I-10.
Up that
and
side
that place
road,
is and that place is an absolute mess.
Well, it's worse than
So
Tangerine.
It absolutely is.
Especially getting off at rush hour.
Yep.
I mean, it's nuts.
It's nuts. That's a crazy interchange right now, and we've got some work to do on that when we have plans that will start here in a couple of years to do some interim modifications. But I think if we could do Moore Road interchange, it would be much less expensive than doing one of the other interchanges because you could do everything offline, not have to shut down the freeway,
and
not have
filter
to
everybody
divert.
there while you're fixing needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then you don't have to have this horrible congestion at the other two interchanges, and it would help alleviate a lot of the. And at some point, that's going to be a road that connects into Dove Mountain and gives them an additional route out of Dove Mountain, because right now it's one way in, one way out. Right. 7 miles up to the top and 7 miles back.
I'd use it. I'm right off Moore Road. I'm just north of Moore.
There you go.
I'd hit that.
Yeah, hit Moore Road interchange and head west.
When I moved here in 2002, that I moved to Tucson, we'd been in Phoenix since the early 90s. But I think the population was around 24,000.
In what year?
2002.
02?
It
Okay,
was
could have been
20-something thousand.
Yep, that's probably about right.
Because
when I started in 2010, we were at 34,000.
Okay, maybe
so
28.
That's probably about right.
28. They're within with that serious amount of growth in 2 decades.
Yeah,
double.
Oh yeah,
they're within like some of the issues now that we've got to.
We're growing so fast, we're, and this is something the mayor has said repeatedly, we're a victim of our own success.
Exactly.
Right. So we're growing so fast, we got to keep pace. And so making sure that we grow at a rate that we can sustain and we can keep up with, not just from a road standpoint, not just from a water and wastewater standpoint, but also from a service standpoint. Do we have enough cops to get to the calls? And we go to every call. Right. We don't go to, just
when it's comfortable, or convenient.
We go to everything, man. Somebody steals the pink flamingo from your front yard, and I know you got a couple of those, Clint. So somebody steals that out of your front yard.
My neighbors.
Yeah, they're your neighbors. We're going to show up on that call. So. Making sure we have enough cops, making sure we have enough Parks and Rec staff to keep the parks clean and to run the programs, and enough public works folks to make sure that the roads are well maintained. Those are all things that are very important to the people of this community, and that speaks to the quality of life as well,
and the quality of people that have chosen to live here as well.
Yeah.
When you look around, there's some cool people that live in Marana.
Right.
I have a state, and I don't live here. I sleep in Oro Valley. I live in Marana during the day.
Yeah.
And I have for 18 years, and I love it here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being anywhere else. Even if we were to expand and grow, this would be our home base.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry, our hour flew by.
It did, man. Absolutely.
You got anything else? Was there anything still that you want to? We want to talk about your podcast. Your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So that's a new thing for us. Yeah, that's a new thing for us. So we started that. It was actually Andrea Caicedo and Vicky Hathaway that said, you know what? We need to do a better job of getting information out to the public. And people aren't going to web pages and clicking on information. They're listening to podcasts.
That's right.
And they said, Terry, we need to do a podcast. And I said, I don't know what we do, but I'm game. So they set it all up, and we take questions right from the people of this community. What's on your hearts and minds? Right. What are you concerned about? What do you want to know more about? And we answer those questions. We bring in members of our staff, and we talk about those things, whether it's water and water sustainability, whether it's policing issues, whether it's development and what's going up in Marana. All of those things we bring people in, and it has been a phenomenal resource for our community, and the response that we have gotten has just been outstanding. So we push that. We do. We usually push out one a week.
One a week. Yeah.
And
you've probably been doing this now, what, 3, 4,
I think,
5 months?
Yeah,
something
I think
like
we
that,
started
all year?
it right after the beginning of the year. So February, I think, is when we really got going.
That's
so
we have my wife and I, when we carpool together, we listen
to it. Yeah,
we listen to David and we listen to you. We have our favorites.
Good.
One other thing I want to talk about is leadership in the modern world.
Yeah.
Leadership where we're at right now, because that is so important.
Yeah, it's lacking.
Man,
it's
sad.
sad.
Saying where are our leaders?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be an elected official or even a town employee. To me, the two greatest leaders of the last part of the 20th century were two single women, one a divorced single mom, and one was Mother Teresa, and one was Princess Di.
Oh, yeah.
They had everyone's attention. They had a lot of influence.
Yeah.
But where are we at today, and how do we do a better job of that? And
I think you have to. I think you have to start where you're at, right? Trying to think that you're going to change the leadership of the world is not very reasonable, right? Yeah. So where we start is right in our hometown, and we start with the folks that are in positions of leadership. We just went through a book. I said, hey, we're going to have what we call leadership discussions in leadership. We do it once a month. We sit down and we talk about real leadership issues. We just got done going through a book. I highly recommend it. It's called Way of the Shepherd, and it really outlines.
Do you know?
It was Kevin Lehman and I forget the other guy's name, but yeah, Kevin Lehman. A lot of people know him. But yeah, it's a book. It's short, 7 chapters, 7 principles, and it walks you through what it really means to lead people using a shepherd and how a shepherd takes care of, disciplines the sheep, right? It's really been a fantastic thing. And we're going to take that now with our group of leaders at the executive leadership team, and we're going to share that with mid-level managers and supervisors.
All the way down.
All the way down. So we're all on the same page,
through.
man. You gotta care for people, right? You gotta tend to the flock. Yeah. You gotta know your folks, and you gotta communicate, interact with, inspire them, motivate them, right? So I think you have to start with the people that you have and grow their skills. One of the things that we're doing right now is going through a book called Crucial Conversations. I think one of the areas where leaders lack the most is the ability to have difficult conversations, to confront, look a difficult situation, a difficult employee in the eye and say, this is not okay. We need to be better than this. Right. And if we can't change, if we can't get there, I'm going to work really hard with you to get you there. Right. But if we can't get you there, you're not going to be able to be a part of this organization because what you're doing is unacceptable, right? So having those crucial conversations, how you go about doing that, vitally important.
And what was the name of the first book?
First book was The Way of the Shepherd, and the second book is called Crucial Conversations.
Crucial Conversations, and Kevin Lehman was one of the authors, and David was in my ear, and it's William Pentak.
Yeah, that's it.
William Pentak is the other author. This went too fast, Terry.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you right now, live. Yep. Can we do it again?
Absolutely.
Let's figure something out when we get when we get done here.
Yeah.
We'll figure out some.
I love talking
time.
about the town.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
I do
too. Because I'm a big believer. If it's working, the more people we can get it working for, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it's working. Let's just push even a little harder.
Yeah. There you go.
Work for more. Terry, thank you.
Pleasure. Pleasure is all mine.
Pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for listening. We appreciate it, and check us next time.